I've travelled to an ancient kingdom, a land once ruled by a desert people. They're called the Nabateans, and this is one of their finest cities. The ancient site of Hegra rose out of the deserts of northwest Saudi Arabia in the 1st century BCE, filled with homes, holy places, and towering rock-cut tombs. Now, Hegra is the front line of research into the Nabatean world. Everything here was built on the trade of one of history's most luxurious treasures. Heady, potent incense. I'm here to experience an ancient treasure that's been burnt in sacred rituals for thousands of years. It was worth so much. It sparked wars of conquest, it made merchants eye-wateringly rich, and it helped to build one of the most fascinating civilizations in the ancient world, right here in the deserts of Arabia. I'm on a mission, on the journey of a lifetime, to discover the Nabatean world. An epic quest from the historic settlements of Al-Ula in Saudi Arabia and the wonder of Petra in Jordan to Greek islands like Kos and the Bay of Naples in Italy. With a network of world-class researchers, we'll be analysing brand new evidence. Look at this. Testing exciting theories, revealing new finds. You're making history, Michaeli, by what you're discovering here. And exploring uncharted territory.
Oh, you can see it!
All to start to reconstruct the Nabatean world. This is like a kind of postcard from the past. 1 in a million chance of finding a bit of pottery. That is awesome. They shared their world with some of the greatest characters in history. Queen Cleopatra, Roman emperors, Herod the Great. We'll learn from people whose heritage reaches back through the centuries to this pivotal age. Oh, it's great to be back. You look well.
Yeah, still alive.
Still alive. I'm going to rediscover this overlooked culture, reveal how it still shapes our world, and try to solve the riddle of their mysterious fate. I want to bring them from the edges back to the centre of history, where they belong. These geniuses of history, who called themselves the Nabatu, are the key to a lost world. Now I'm on a real quest to explain the rise of the Nabateans. From a resourceful, nomadic desert tribe to a people who controlled one of the richest kingdoms in the ancient world. A culture capable of creating entire cities out of desert earth and rock. I started in the Nabatean city of Hegra, a hub of cutting-edge archaeology, revealing new details about their world. An ancient settlement we've reimagined and reconstructed using the latest research, where I've explored fresh discoveries that reveal how they built their kingdom.
This coin is for Cleopatra.
She's one of the most famous women of all time, let alone of the ancient world.
And learns how their legacy endures.
We changed the civilization name, but still the people are here.
Yeah, amazing.
Next, I want to trace their epic trade routes, crossing close on 4,000 miles across 3 continents. Desert odysseys through these lands nourished the Nabatean world, but their winding ways were never mapped.
The Nabateans can seem elusive because they didn't write loads down. They didn't lionise themselves in epic histories. But do you know what? That can be a sign not of weakness but of strength. It's almost as though they felt they didn't need to define themselves against others. They have this kind of innate, charismatic confidence.
Because their own texts are thin on the ground, evidence like graffiti, inscriptions, and the enduring monuments in sites like Hegra are key to deciphering Nabatean culture. Cities with incredible tombs like these don't pop up out of nowhere. For this oasis hub to flourish, there had to be a bustling, thriving economy. Roman texts mention huge Nabatean trade caravans, camels laden with precious cargo crossing these endless sands. So I want to understand what life was really like for nomadic traders arriving at an outpost like Hegra. My team and I have been delving into the latest research, and I'm keen to find out more from Nabatean expert, archaeologist Leila Naimeh.
It's an incredible place, this. I mean, it's so exciting to explore. But I'm just trying to imagine what it's like for ancient visitors who come in. You know, do you think there's a kind of system of passage? Do they have to pay to get in? Do they have to meet the authorities? Or how does that work?
First, one has to be aware that the animals did not go inside the city. They would be parked outside.
Yeah.
And the 5 gates of the city, we identified them, and they were certainly guarded. Imagine you've been traveling for 8 days, okay, in the desert, eating dates and drinking she-camel milk.
Yeah.
And you get to a city with palm trees, it's green, it's clean, you have people around. It gives a feeling of, wow.
Yeah, like a relief. And also, it's fresh blood, it's fresh people. You know, it might be that you're chatting, sharing news, exchanging ideas.
Yes, and the traders would meet in places like this, which are major caravan stops.
What a place. And I've got to ask you one thing.
Yes.
So we've got these caravans, we've got the traders, we've got the businessmen. What about the women? Because if a lot of the men are away trading, do you think they've got a kind of particular status or standing here?
I mean, I would compare it to the role women had during the First World War, when most men were at war. So they had to take things in charge. We have the evidence for the fact that they could own tombs, they could own palm groves, and what is even more important than just owning them, they could have their children inherit from them. The fact that a woman can have her children inherit from her is a step much more important than the possibility of owning.
Yeah, you've got accumulated wealth. It's so exciting because what you're painting a picture of is this really cosmopolitan place. It's not remote. You know, you can sort of think it was in the desert, so it's a remote place, but it's almost the opposite.
No, that's the opposite. And I mean, the Nabateans are exactly a symbol of the opposite of secluded people. The number of scripts and languages that one can see in Hegra.
Yeah.
You've got Nabatean, you have ancient North Arabian, which is something completely different. You got Greek, you got Latin, and so that's already quite a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. What a place.
10 different languages have been identified from ancient inscriptions throughout the region of Al-Ula, which must mean merchants passing through Hegra were coming from right across the ancient map. But I want to know exactly what they're trading and how they're travelling through this epic landscape. The rolling desert wadis are notoriously difficult to navigate, endless arteries of sandy trails. To get a glimpse into the lives of the ancient peoples who passed through here, I need some local knowledge. Hamad al-Anazi was born and raised in Al-Ula. With the help of his sons, he's identified and documented over 50,000 clues carved into the rock, many predating the Nabateans, proof that the deep human history on these trails goes back thousands of years.
Well, that was a pretty extraordinary journey. I mean, we've been going for miles. I have absolutely no idea how Hamad directed us here, but he's buzzed off because I think this is what he's wanting to show me, and I can see them. Look, I can see. Oh, they're inscriptions. This is incredible. There's some story here, isn't there? What's that happening here? They're more.
هذه ناقة طال عمرك وهذه الذروة حقتها شعر.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
وهذا ذنبها مع السبيب حقها.
Okay. Oh, this is brilliant. Oh, I know what this is. How much you have made my... Yeah. So it's like a game. Okay, so we can imagine them sitting here, playing a game. They've done their incredible art on the wall, and now they're just hanging, doing it's almost a version of a thing that's called mancala now, that you still get a lot in different places in Africa particularly. So this is them hanging out, enjoying themselves.
I've seen this game across the Nabatean world, even at Petra. It suggests that we're on some kind of an ancient desert superhighway. Nearby is one of the most extraordinary sights in the Arabian Peninsula. This is Jabal Ikma, an open-air library stuffed with clues left by ancient travellers, all astonishingly preserved.
It's just amazing round here because it's not only the rock art that leaves a trail. Some of these surfaces are thick with inscriptions, with prayers, with heartfelt thanks to the gods, and with records of some of the journeys that carved their way through this land.
These are travellers, just like me, speaking to us from the past. More than 300 inscriptions in several different ancient languages, dating back over 2,500 years. And I've had a new lead come in. The latest evidence from a nearby site called Judaya. More carved messages, this time in the Nabatean script.
So we sent a researcher off to scout for some inscriptions there, and they've sent back something quite incredible. So just listen to this. May any man who went to Hegra and any camel be safe, and may Judayu, the son of Gab, son of Hayu, be safe. So not only is this telling us that people are going there and wishing for the safety of camel drivers and their caravans of camels, but also one generation after the other are going and leaving their mark on these rocks. And there's something else. So see this lovely curving, looping script that's used in the inscriptions? It might seem familiar, and that's because it is. Because the Nabatean script that was used became the basis of all Arabic writing. So a script that's used by many hundreds of millions around the world today.
If we take a map of all the carvings found by research teams in this region so far, and then if we place all the Nabatean inscriptions uncovered on that map, a pattern becomes clear. An ancient trail leading south to north. This is the Darb al-Bakhra, connecting Hegra to the Nabatean capital of Petra. Routes like this were the backbone of the Nabateans' wealth. An ancient trail for merchants trading in one of antiquity's most expensive goods, frankincense. It starts 3,000 kilometres from Hegra on the southern corner of the Arabian Peninsula. And that's the next stop on my journey.
I'm going deep into the heart of Arabia and right through a place that's still called the Empty Quarter.
I'm uncovering the Nabatean world. The Greek historian Diodorus Siculus wrote that while many Arab tribes use the desert as pasture, the Nabateans far surpass the others in wealth. So I'm heading from their outpost in modern-day Alula, Saudi Arabia, following the trail of merchant inscriptions south to Oman to discover the secret of their desert economy.
I've travelled to the Dhofar Mountains to find what the Romans described as the treasure of Arabia. It feels like you're in miles and miles of empty, hostile desert until you see this hardy tree. It's the Boswellia sacra, the frankincense tree.
They've grown here in Oman and neighbouring Yemen for thousands of years. The rich tree sap is harvested and dried using painstaking techniques barely changed since antiquity. It was produced here by the people of the kingdom of Sabea. But it was the Nabateans who controlled the export of this rare treasure right across the ancient world.
This helped to change the fortunes of the Nabateans.
The mountains here provide the exact climatic conditions needed to produce the finest frankincense. Romans even called this region Arabia Felix, Happy Arabia, because this fertile landscape produced such a rich, highly desired luxury. Aside from its sweet perfume, incense had an array of intriguing uses.
Now, frankincense smells gorgeous, and the clouds of smoke it produces almost look as though it's taking messages up to the heavens. But there's something else too, and our clue comes from ancient sources. One of the oldest medical tracts in the world, the Ebers Papyrus from Egypt, tells us that incense was recommended in the treatment of eye diseases. So it says,
a pellet of incense is to be put in the medicine unbroken. The eyes are to be rubbed with it.
There's a Greek pharmacologist, for instance, who says that frankincense resin can be used to plug the holes of ulcers and also to treat bloody wounds. So for the ancients, this stuff clearly had a really, really practical purpose.
Modern science is backing up this ancient wisdom. Frankincense contains terpenes, which are anti-inflammatory, and it even has antibacterial properties. With so many uses for a product in such short supply, incredible riches were a guarantee for whoever could control the incense trade.
Now, just think about it. So the Nabateans are controlling the land routes all the way from the mountains of Dhofar right the way up to the Mediterranean.
Look at this map. Here's the Red Sea, with some coastline controlled by the Nabateans. The only possible trade route avoiding the stormy and pirate-infested Red Sea was on foot through the arduous desert interior, right across Nabatean-held territory. Roman writer Pliny the Elder tells us the huge 1,500-mile land journey was punctuated by 65 caravanserai, fortified outposts where travellers paid a handsome price for protection and supplies. And the next leg of my journey is taking me to a prime example of one of these caravanserai. Tamar is over 120 miles northeast of Hegra, a lush oasis on the edge of the desert. First mentioned by the Assyrians in the 8th century BCE.
Welcome to Tamar, an ancient oasis town and trading post on the incense route for thousands of years before the Nabateans, and somewhere that became an essential part of their supply chain.
Larger stops like this one on the commercial trail had to host possibly thousands of camels and the people that made up the convoys.
Huge camel caravans might offer safety, but they also raise serious logistical issues. Camels can survive for days, sometimes even for a week or so without food or water, but their human owners certainly can't. Tamar's built around this beautiful, abundant natural oasis, so at last those thirsty camel caravans could access life-giving supplies here.
And you can still see the evidence today.
Isn't this brilliant? So I've read about this place, but I had no idea of the scale of it. So what you're looking at here is the oldest well that's been in continuous use anywhere in the Arabian Peninsula and possibly in the world.
A version of the Well of Hadaj is said to have been dug in the 6th century BCE, but it's thought its origins date back even earlier. It's nearly 20 metres from one side to the other. As recently as the 1950s, the well was still the main source of irrigation for local farmland. And there was room for 100 camels at any one time.
So this specific well is actually mentioned in the Bible. In the book of Isaiah, we hear about the inhabitants of the land of Tamar, the caravans who camp in the thickets of Arabia, who bring water for the thirsty and food for fugitives. So this is the very definition of timelessness.
This clever engineering doesn't come cheap, and the Nabateans charged a high price. Merchants had no alternative but to come here for water, food, security and lodging. It was a Nabatean monopoly.
Now, on top of everything, the Nabateans were charging a flat rate of tax, we're told on the good authority of the Roman author Pliny, of a whopping 25% on all the goods that came in and out of their kingdom. So no wonder they were becoming super rich, and no wonder they were becoming the object of serious envy.
And the most envious eyes belonged to the ruler of the Empire of Rome. In 25 BCE, Augustus, Rome's first emperor, decided he no longer wanted to pay the 25% premium on moving incense through Nabatean towns like Tamar. Instead, he planned to grab the entire industry for himself.
Under the command of the prefect of nearby Rome, Egypt, Gaius Aelius Gallus, an expedition was sent out to attack the ancient kingdom of Sabea in order to seize the source of the incense.
A Roman force of 10,000 left Egypt and sailed to Lukrative, a port in Nabatean territory.
But to get to Sabea, to cross this merciless desert, Aelius Gallus needed help. And so Rome commandeered a local minister called Sylleus. A Nabatean might know the safe routes and where to get water and supplies in this wilderness.
It's a huge undertaking to keep even a small army on the march, especially in conditions like this. The journey was unrelenting, and the soldiers had to take detours to find essential provisions.
Finally, after 6 months on the road, 6 months, exhausted and racked with disease, the Romans reached their target, the fortress city of Mareb, gateway to frankincense country.
After 6 days of fruitless assault on the city, the weary Romans admitted defeat and began retreating back to their ships on the Red Sea coast.
But Gaius Aelius Gallus had a disconcerting surprise awaiting him. The journey back to Lukrative took only 60 days, which must have meant that Sylleus had double-crossed him and that he led the Roman troops on a long way round to prove that the Nabateans were indispensable and that you could never, ever cut the Nabateans out of a deal.
Sylleus returned home to Nabatea, a hero. His king, Obodas II, rewarded Sylleus by making him chief advisor, ensuring that the wily politician remained a crucial figure in their continuing struggle with the superpower of Rome. A battle for supremacy that would take them to a new theatre, the highways of the sea. I'm on a journey tracing the Nabatean kingdom's ancient trade routes. It's become clear the Nabateans were champions of the desert, skilled at crossing thousands of miles of wilderness and creating cities in rock and sand.
Now my investigation's leading me to the Red Sea to find out how the Nabateans also became masters of the waves.
Infuriated by his expedition having been outwitted by Sylleus in 25 BCE, Emperor Augustus refused to admit defeat. This time, he planned to route the goods out of Arabia onto ships in the Red Sea via friendly Roman-controlled ports, once again showing that the Romans were not to be trusted.
The Nabateans were right to be outraged.
they'd sided with Augustus against Mark Antony and Cleopatra in the fight for the rule of Rome, actually double-crossing Queen Cleopatra and burning her fleet in the Red Sea in 31 BCE.
Cleopatra, betrayed by the Nabateans, famously took her own life.
But if they expected any special favours from the newly victorious Augustus, they were very much mistaken.
After Cleopatra's death, Rome controlled Egypt's ports of Myos Hormos and Berenike. So frankincense could travel by sea from the Dauphin Mountains to Roman territory directly across the water.
So I'm setting out to sea to discover how the Nabateans turned the tables on the Romans once again.
And there's plenty of evidence to suggest they were expert sailors. Greek historian Strabo mentions them using rafts and living on islands off the coast.
The Nabateans sometimes used their mastery of the sea to pretty nefarious ends. So they would often board ships as pirates, and then sometimes in an even more sinister move, if they heard that there was a shipwreck, they would travel out to the shipwrecked sailors like kind of sharks circling a bleeding corpse and pick the cargo clean. And we're also told in the historical accounts that there was a particular sting that they managed to pull off where they collaborated with a mainland tribe. They got the tribe to float out illicit stashes of incense on inflated animal skins. So a bit like the kind of ancient world equivalent of dinghies, to an island. The Nabateans then went and picked up their loot and traded it across the Red Sea right the way up to northern Egypt.
I want to know if there's any material evidence that backs up these ancient accounts. This relatively unexplored stretch of the Red Sea is now a hub of new archaeological research. I've been invited to join a geophysical survey team who are scanning and mapping the seabed of these ancient waterways. It's time to dive into the water and take a closer look.
I just used the opportunity while the divers were down there to get in and have a little dip. I mean, you couldn't resist it, could you? But it is amazing swimming in here, thinking of the thousands of years worth of history that are being looked at underneath me right now.
And there are some new team members keen to help.
Dolphins! There's a dolphin! There's a dolphin, it's a good sign.
They're right underneath here. Hey, hi, beautiful.
The Nabateans loved dolphins as well, and they put dolphins on decorative friezes, so I feel the spirit of the Nabateans are with us right now.
The dolphins bring good luck. Archaeologist Julian Janssen van Rensburg has a discovery I have to see.
Sometimes. So the dolphins came?
Yeah, you saw some dolphins here. It's brilliant. I can't believe it.
I know.
I do like a dolphin. But this island, it's my new found joy.
Why?
It's late Roman to early Islamic period. It's lovely. You have to go there, but honestly, it's something to behold.
No, thank you. Really kind.
Yeah, great to meet you guys.
Bye. Be safe. Adventures to come.
The remote island that Julian explored looks like exactly the sort of base that Nabatean seafarers might have used to target passing ships and stash smuggled goods. While underwater camera specialists Sean Ruggieri and Donovan Hastings search the water, I'm field walking the coastline, looking for archaeological clues. A guide to navigating this treacherous coast, written in the 1st century CE, offers a stark warning to anyone carrying precious cargo on the waters. If a vessel is driven from her course upon this shore, she is plundered. And if wrecked, the crew on escaping to land are reduced to slavery.
It's just incredible landing here because it's so quiet now. Completely deserted. It is literally a desert island. But this would have been this absolute kind of hub of exchange and people trading frankincense and myrrh and gold and silk, and they've left these tiny little fragments of their lives.
It doesn't take long to find something special.
Hey, how'd you get on? Hiya. Did you get any?
We did. We left ours there for now. We definitely found some amphora shards. I'd say the biggest one was about hand size.
I don't know. I mean, you can't tell until you analyse it. You don't know what would be in it. It's going to be wine. Could you kind of see the shape of the shards?
What caught my eye immediately was the right angles of the pieces, you know, like kind of square blocks, and the color is what immediately, okay, amphora.
Yeah.
And so kind of followed along with that. The most interesting one I saw was right next to what looked like a rib bone.
Really?
Might have been whatever they were eating at the time.
Sometimes they carried animals with them. You sort of carried your dinner with you alive. So obviously you take goats and stuff on the boat rather than carrying meat around. So if there'd been some kind of shipwreck, you often do get animal carcasses washed up with the amphorae. So it could be that. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff, to be honest. It's just like, almost like kind of throwaway cardboard boxes today. That's just what they carry the stuff around in. Just no doubt, the fact that you've got this, it shows that there are people here involved in really serious hardcore trade. There are people here at the time of the Romans, and that means that the Nabateans were definitely here. So this is them reaching out to us across 2,000 years. It's all thanks to the dolphins. They led us here. They actually led us here.
Right?
They did.
Yeah.
These are all small clues which point to just how vibrant this stretch of coast must have been. This amount of pottery means serious numbers of cargo ships here. And there's an incredible source for Red Sea commerce from the 1st century CE. It's called the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea. Periplus means sailing around, and ancient Erythraean waters included the present-day Arabian Gulf, Indian Ocean and Red Sea. It details how the Nabateans excelled in maritime trade, refusing to be cut out of the market.
You get the most amazing detail from Periplus, so just listen to this. To the left of Berenike, if you sail eastward from Myos Hormos, so that's over there in Egypt, for 2 days you arrive at a place called Luke Kome, the point of communication with Petra. It's an emporium of trade. Small vessels come to it laden with merchandise from Arabia. So this is direct evidence of all the trade that's happening on these seas.
Archaeologists have found compelling proof to back this up. Nabatean pottery remains like the fragments I found on the island are spread right across the ancient map, in Asia Minor in the east, in Greece, and, incredibly, as far west as the Bay of Naples in Italy.
And now I'm on the trail of that trade network, heading to a new continent and to the heart of the Roman Empire.
I'm following the trail of evidence left by the Nabateans across the ancient world.
And now that story's leading me somewhere a little bit unexpected.
Right to the doorstep of their great rivals in Rome. On my way, I'm stopping at the Greek island of Kos in the Aegean Sea. In the early 1st century CE, this was part of the Roman Empire. And along with other islands like Delos and mainland Miletus in modern-day Turkey, Kos was a key stopover for merchant ships heading from the east into the Mediterranean and beyond.
Now, I've been told there are intriguing clues to Nabatean presence on this island and on some of its neighbours.
I'm heading to a sacred site neighbouring the harbour at Kos, a magnet for sailors on merchant ships who visited the island.
This sanctuary is sacred to the Greek goddess Aphrodite, who comes to be called Venus by the Romans. And here she was worshipped as Aphrodite who looked after people, and as Aphrodite Pontia, Aphrodite, the guardian of the sea.
Aphrodite was the goddess of love and desire, born from the waves. And in its heyday, this would have been a bustling place of worship, people giving offerings and making dedications.
A wonderful inscription was found here that is definitive proof of Nabatean presence on the island.
My teams enhanced the 2,000-year-old writing to make it more legible.
So, this was dedicated right here by a Nabatean called Salahi. Now, it's written both in Greek
At the bottom, and up here in Nabatean Aramaic,
which was sort of the official formal language that the Nabateans used, and it's dedicated to the great goddess Al-Utsa. Now, this is really fascinating because Al-Utsa was basically the Nabatean equivalent of the Greek goddess Aphrodite. She was also incarnated as the planet Venus, and she also protected sailors in ports and out at sea. So what's happening here is the Nabateans are harnessing the power of the goddess Aphrodite, whose sanctuary this is, and melding it with that of their own mighty deity, who looked after their men and their precious goods out on the oceans and high seas.
Five other Nabatean inscriptions have been found in the Aegean.
There's a brilliant connection between two of them because they feature Selaus, that wily Nabatean operator who led Roman forces on a wild goose chase through the deserts of Arabia.
Selaus's next posting was to Rome. He was dispatched to the imperial court of Emperor Augustus to plead the Nabatean case in a dispute with Judea.
Because Selaus's name and the date were inscribed, we can precisely track his island-hopping journey through the Aegean on his way to the Roman capital. Selaus's story has a pretty dramatic ending. The old Nabatean king died, and Selaus decided that he wanted to seize the throne. But someone else had already got there first. The man who would become Aretas IV married the old king's widow, Huldu, and took the crown for himself. Selaus was promptly arrested on charges of treason, and then the Romans beheaded him.
The inscriptions on Kos are proof that Nabatean trade reached this far, but at my next destination, there's evidence of something more substantial. And it's right in the heart of the Roman Empire. I'm heading about 900 miles west along the ancient shipping route from the Aegean to the Italian mainland. This is the Bay of Naples, not only home to Pompeii, but also the infamously hedonistic resort town of Baia, often dubbed the Las Vegas of the Roman Empire, and the largest Roman port on the Italian mainland, Puteoli.
Sylleus might have lost his life, but it seems that some Nabateans were doing really well right here.
By the time Sylleus arrived in Rome to plead his case with Emperor Augustus, Puteoli was the major Roman entry point for luxury goods, like frankincense.
The Egyptians and the Greeks adored incense, but the Romans seem to have been obsessed with it. I think they kind of loved its exotic Eastern allure and the fact it was great at perfuming their sprawling, stinking cities, as well as providing a mood-lifting messenger to the gods. And this is where most of the supplies come pouring into their empire.
This was the major entrance point for silk from Asia, grain from Egypt, and pearls from the Indian Ocean. It was also the major export hub for wines, ceramics, and marble. So we really shouldn't be surprised if the Nabateans found their way here. And my friend, underwater archaeologist Michele Stefanile, has been hunting for 10 years to find proof they were here. The whole coast is on a fault line. Beneath the waves are the remarkable sunken remains of both Baia and Puteoli, all submerged due to tectonic activity in the 16th century. There are Roman pleasure palaces, mosaics, and today, this 437-acre underwater site, that's approximately 250 football pitches, is a special marine protected zone. So Michele and his team are taking cameras down to show me something truly game-changing.
How did it go? Fantastic. Did you get some good shots down there?
Yeah, absolutely. Really, yeah. Wow.
Using Michele's footage, we can discover just how rooted the Nabateans' presence was here.
Michele, you always have treats for me. What are you finding here?
You can still read the inscription. Dusaris Sacrum. Dusares in Latin, Dushara in their original language, the supreme god of the Nabateans. We found a temple underwater. It's the only one we know in the Mediterranean.
You've got to kind of slow down because it's unbelievably exciting, this. So if there's a whole temple here, then that means people are permanently living here, because you might do a sort of altar or a mini sanctuary if you're passing through, but it shows that there's a Nabatean community who are residents here.
Yeah. The inscriptions are the evidence of the origin of the people using this building. And this people is coming from far, far away. He's coming from the deserts of Arabia.
Yeah. I love the idea of them coming here because, they've come from the desert with their camels and then they're in this incredibly lush, fertile, volcanic place with Mount Vesuvius just over there. I mean, it must have been amazing for them to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. The Nabateans, culturally speaking, are so far from the Romans. When they arrive here, they start a very quick process of Romanization.
Yeah.
Their temple appears to us as a Roman building.
So what I thought, so they're coming here, they're mixing with Romans, as you said, they're using Latin,
they're showing that they fit in. But they must also be making a lot of money, because if they can afford the very best marble to build this temple, they are coining it in here.
Absolutely.
You're making history, Michele, by what you're discovering here. I mean, that is cool. That's really impressive.
And Michele has found evidence underwater of where all the money to build this temple came from.
These parts, these buildings are just the storage room of the harbor.
So this is storage. We know we've got Nabateans here. So it's probably incense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we know that this kind of goods arrived in Rome. So probably the port of arrival was Puteoli.
Look at all those storerooms. I mean, that's serious amounts of goods that are coming in here.
Yes.
These are incredible.
Thank you for coming, and I hope you will come back when we dig this.
Try and keep me away. I'll definitely come back. You know, it's genuinely exciting being here and imagining the Nabateans here too, so far from home, and yet still being canny and courageous and carving out a life for themselves on a whole new continent. And as I get to know them a bit better, it seems that that is how they operate, that they're very successful and they're very strategic, and also that their story is always full of surprises.
Next time, I find out how it almost ended, how the Nabateans rolled the dice one last time with the most powerful empire in history, Rome.
Yeah, there's loads of it.
Never thought we would find that.